Hello and welcome back to the Google APIs for Rust and YouTube Uploader development stream. We are still fixing our authentication library, OAuth 2, in issue 74 of our Google APIs. It's kind of, all in one, and I just keep my tickets here right now because it's easier for me. And, process overhead is nothing I really need because I'm the only person working on this anyway. But in the last session, I was kind of crumbling because I was thinking, damn it, do I need this? All of this, and what's the device flow state? Previously I had one state that I always returned, and now I kind of changed it to be result oriented, which is better. And then for a moment I was, damn it, I have to return the device flow state again and make this available, and then what's gonna happen? And what's gonna happen is that I'm not going to, it's an internal thing. And this, I think, could solve all my problems that I previously had with ownership. Really, that's it. So let's see what we do with the state, and then, because that's an optional now, that's important. State is an optional. So what happens to our state? Here we request the code, and this is exactly staying as it is, and that compiled already. So we just have to look at the state and see what we do. So that is a sum item now. So if you have a code, then we basically set our state to pending, and set some additional values here, which is good and nice. We might even consider putting all this into our state, but on the other hand, what do we use it for? We just use it when we pull the token. So why is that not part of the pull information? Because the pull information is something we get here, that something we decode. No, actually, it's not something we decode. Secret and ID is something we can totally put into the pull information. Because what do we do with the pull information anyway? Oh, I think it's something. Yeah, no, forget what I said. I think it's something that the user will be handed over, and I think we just don't hand over the stuff again that he gave us in the first place. Yeah, so I think that's the reason. So we keep it separate. However, what we can do is we can put it into the variant of our internal state. We could do that, at least. But this would also mean that that accessing it will be a bit more indirect, because we then have to go into it and say, no, wait. Can we have some sort of built-in, can we have a variant which is a struct? Does that work even? That would be awesome. Yeah, I think I want the book here. Effective Rust, maybe I reload it. If I reload it, things will happen. Didn't reload it in a while, so this could be cached and old and whatnot. Enumerations. Here we go. So this one I know. Oh no, wait, that's a struct. Yeah, so I was thinking about having a kind of built-in struct there. That would be pretty neat. Pretty neat. But look, this is nothing really. So I think all we can do with so the question is, can we have a variant? Let's try that, but just in a moment. For now, I just leave this and make it work so that we deal with the fact that this is now an optional. Where else do we do anything with the state? Here. So here we return a token and pull error, and I wonder, we match on our state, and why? Because we want to assign it within our match statement, right? This is why we clone it in the first place. Yeah, here we assign it. And then we return it even, which doesn't work like that anymore. Yeah, so we set our state to error, we keep it, but we never, that's a bit odd. I think all the other states, I don't even need to save them. Why? Because, wait a second. So this first call is successful. We expect it unless there's a network problem. The return device flow state pending variant contains enough information to poll within a given interval at some point obtain a result which is not. Yeah, so all this stuff has to be rewritten here. That's the first thing. And I'm thinking that no matter what happens, as long as I have a poll information, so this expired. In that case, I'm setting myself to error and I will never get there anymore. Okay. In the moment, yeah, I think I want to re-return these errors. In the moment, I have one of these, right? So expired, for instance, is something that we cannot fix. So expired will stay. This is what we say here, expired or access denied. This will also stay. And where's the access denied case? Access denied. Here it is. And here we also set our state. Yeah. Okay, now I slowly get it. And the moment we set our state to anything else, then we don't get into that anymore. But the what if here we have an error like an HTTP error, then we return just an error without setting our state. Now I get it. Okay, this can actually work. Now I get it. But this state is nothing we ever return. That's important. And I don't want to return it. And also I don't want to expose this internal state so much. Okay, so let's see. We want to assign our state. We also want to match on our state. Maybe I can just have two matches. The first match gives me a reference to... if I have a reference to something, I can't override it. Yeah, that's why I cloned the state in the first place, which could contain an error, which is the reason that I need to put an RC. Do I do the RC stuff? Yeah, so there's something I want to get rid of. So point is that the only thing I ever want to clone is the poll information, because that's stuff I want to override eventually. So I think I want to have two matches here. And if you have poll information, we're good. If we don't have poll information, we bail out with something that could be an error. Okay. I definitely need two scopes here, but I don't necessarily need to, let's kick this. I don't need to clone you anymore. That's what I'm thinking. And also, this is now an optional. So this will now be a sum. Oh, by the way, the build finished. Oh, nice. So we built it in less than an hour. Awesome, that actually works. How much is that? Besides that, I mean, servo, just like my little finally it builds, that's something. However, let's go back to business here. That's a sum. I want to solve this now. So I think I need two matches. First of all, I want to extract a copy of the poll information. And maybe it's like this. OP, like optional PI. So we match on our state. And what we can do is sum device flow state pending a ref of PI. And we clone this one to be happy. And it's sum then. In any other case, we will put in none. So this is something we have now. So we don't have to clone our state anymore. We can just use it because now we go in and match on this one. If we have some PI, and we will keep it mat PI. That's the cool thing, because now we don't have to do any weird stuff anymore with RC. Let's see where we use RC here. RC here. No, we can just put it there now. I think. Same here. So that's HTTP error. So it's RC. This is what we're looking for. Request error does the same thing. HTTP error Y. It's also weird that, you know, we don't get, do we get an RC here from posts? Really? Hyper post? That's weird. Let's have a look. Because I wonder, I want to get rid of this RC, and maybe Hyper forced us to do that at some point, but as far as I can see, I forced myself due to the cloning stuff that I was doing. Oh no, I went to the wrong one. Anyway, here we go. Post. What are you returning? Request, okay, it's a request builder, which then has send HTTP result. See, and this contains an HTTP error, so there is no reason to do what we do with RC here. Yeah, I think that code can be unaltered. Totally. I think we do it because of clone. Yeah. We don't need to clone that one anymore. No, why would we? I think the request error at some point was part of the state, which needed to be clonable because of all this stuff. And now we just return a new one all the time, which is why we are totally good. Oh, finally, this was terrible, this issue. So remember, we have to update this documentation before anything else happens. Okay, so here we go on a sum. And if we have a none, actually it's match on, let's match on this. And also we don't want to destructure it. We want to have a ref on this. And yeah, I don't think, you know, let's just say if we have an error there, or if you have a token there, I think we have to match on what we have, because you just want to return what there is. So you have a ref s, which is the state, and then we match on the state again. And if we are appending, we take what we have. In any other case, by the way, it's none, and we just leave. So we match here. Let's close this match. Yes. Like this, and I guess usually I do it like that. That seems feasible. Then device flow state error, which is a poll error, I suppose. Oh. Okay, now we have to return a clone of the poll error. Let's see if we can do that. And I guess now we get our RC back. Ha ha. Yes, now we get our RC back. Totally so. Because we just want to return it. Once we are in a certain kind of poll error, we don't get out of there. That's the point. And we can't return ourselves multiple times unless we say we return a reference to our poll error, which would be doable. Then at least we wouldn't have to do the RC stuff. Can we return a reference to our poll error? Yes, we can. What about the request error? Does it mean anything to us? I don't think so. I think in this case we can return the real thing. And in this case, we cannot. So we are on a ref here. So we have to do that. Ref pi, clone it. This is clonable. This is ref Well, actually, I'm not interested in that. If it's an error, we will return an error, which is new, on a ref on our poll error, which is contained within, which is, yeah, actually it is this one here. So this is what we want to return, an error. I hope the lifetime stuff can figure that one out. I think it can, because we store it in ourselves in any case. And if not, we have to make sure of that. Good. And then we have a real token already. And this is clonable as well, device. So we return as much as possible. Device flow state. Return as much as possible so that can be used freely. So because it's owned. So that's success. Token T, return, okay, T clone. I for some reason I'm totally getting off when doing this kind of variant stuff. I love it, totally love it. This match and variant handling, because it's so, you know, all of a sudden you can express yourself. In other languages, you're more like, nah, when it comes to error handling, yeah, what do you want? Like, nah, probably that, but I don't know really, and I forget everything when returning errors. But here it's so clear. Good. I think that's what I want here. So return what there is to return if we are in a state that is kind of done already, but I just repeat the state. And otherwise, if we have some, if we have none, what does it mean if you have none? If you have no state, then it is an error. Actually, that's a panic, because you have to call something before. Yeah, so that is a panic, reason to panic. You have to call request token, request code, I think. No, request code you have to call. Request code beforehand. Yeah, definitely so. So that's pretty clear, I think. So now we have OP. Now we do what we do. So poll error. Okay, that seems fine. Oh shit, at some point we return a poll error, which is an HTTP error, which is not a reference, because we don't want to set it into our state. So how do we do that? Maybe you want to take the error case out there right away or something instead of returning it. Because with the poll error in our case, it will never have an it will have an HTTP error in it, but the one we store will never have an HTTP error in it. But we don't know that. I mean, the type system won't ever know that because it's runtime. It's determined at runtime. So first of all, the request error, I think that's fine. That doesn't need to do that anymore. So this is the one that is currently problematic. Do we use RC anywhere else? No, we do not. RC, do we initiate it anywhere? Yes. So here, the default for the poll error is what? Actually, we don't need a default for this guy anymore, because the state is now an optional. Yep, no default needed. Thanks a lot. So all this stuff can now go away too, which is good. Simplification. This is good, good, good. And I want that. I will not get that back no matter what, because I think I don't need it. Just have to get my structures straight here. So I think request error is fine. Poll error, poll error. How do I handle you? Yeah, so problem is I can't clone you, right? Because of this guy. Okay, maybe I can find a way. What am I doing here? If it's an error, I return a reference to it, which is fine. Except for here. Here I do not set my state to error, which is good actually. I think this is okay. I was alarming myself for no reason. Oh, by the way, I have to ref this and to ref this. And then this will just be fine like that. Because that's a ref as well, and we can't just, move stuff out of there, which would have been done otherwise, which of course would have failed, and that's just how it is. But I know in advance by now. Good. And now this guy, state. We set our error to a poll error expire. That's fine. By the way, it's a sum error. Put our state to a sum error. Then we return it, which is totally wrong. We return a reference to our error. So it's... Oh no, wait, sorry. Device flow state error, right? That's how that goes. And that's our state. And then this thing we will return. Yeah, here I return part of myself, which I think is fine. Yeah, I can borrow part of my own structure. It's read only anyway. And it will check the lifetime stuff, I hope. Actually, I'm not totally sure how that will work. Because now if I return part of myself, read only, then you can't safely write to me anymore unless it tracks this, really. Unless it realizes that this is still connected to me. And it might not be able to do that unless I add some lifetime information. Ooh. I will run into a lot of trouble here, but I think it can be solved. Good, so here we set our state. And then I want to return an error with a poll error that I just created. I think the poll error, let PE, okay, if I move it in there, then it's gone. Yeah, I want to move it in there, but keep a borrow. How do I do that? I can't do it. Or can I? Yeah, I can't move stuff after I've borrowed it. I need to kind of dive into this enumeration again and get the error out of there to make this happen. Which I can, I mean, sure, why not? So yeah, let's do this. Let's take it out of there again, kind of in a fake fashion. Match self state, and then it's if it's a sum device flow state error. Oh no, error. Which it is, then we take a ref to this one. And I don't know, should I take a ref to this one as well? Wait, self-state, what's this then? Who? Is that a borrow then? No, it's not a borrow, right? It's the real thing. Do I destructure it, like for real? Here? That's the real thing. But I don't want to take it out for real. I want to keep a reference to it. I don't know. Let's try it and hope we don't have to do that again. Okay, I will just go through the code. Hopefully that's the only part where that happens. Okay, so here we have the actual error. And we return an error to that error, which is a reference, so that should just be fine. In all the other cases, we shall say it's unreachable because we, in one line above there, just verified that there is an error in there that we now extract again. As a reference, I hope. That's the plan here. Do I? Yeah, well. If I would have a normal structure, I wouldn't have this unpacking problem. But then the logic might be more difficult to pull off because we have no compiler support then, in the sense of exhaustiveness checking, right? Okay, so that could be something. Then where else do we return things? So here we return an error, a poll error with an HTTP error that we yeah, that's the next thing, right? We don't override our state. We can't return a reference to a temporary. Here, that doesn't work. No, it does not work. So here we can't do it unless we have some storage for it, and we can't override our state for this one because that's something that, you know, can happen. And people should be able to retry. That's the point here. This usually shows you that something is wrong with your design, I suppose. Poll error. So I don't want this HTTP error be part, because that's the only case. No, actually, expired is also a case where I want to return stuff. So I could, you know, this expired. I could have another one. I could just create another one for me here. Let error be this. I think that's simpler here before I do this kind of stuff, which is annoying as hell. Yeah, let's copy it in there. So it's clone. I think PI can clone itself. And then we return the actual error here, and then this is fine. I think that's the only thing where it actually matters. So we override our state. And here we say return error. Yeah, that is it. And now here we are good natively. JSON error, yeah, PI. Here we set our state. The state is some error of a poll error, access denied, fair enough. Oh, damn. And here, now I run into this issue again. That I can't clone. Oh, damn it. Error is now. Damn it. Poll error is unclonable. And I'm now trying to clone it here. Damn it. So that won't work. Anyway, so let's try to set this state here. So then we have an authorization pending, which is actually a sum. Oh wait, we're doing it wrong. It's some device flow state error, access denied. Yeah, so that is that type. And then we have a device flow error device flow state pending of a PI. That's also cool. Or we panic. All right. And last but not least, we assign an OK, which is success, to our state. Here we clone our state, which is also something we cannot do and don't want to do. Because what you actually want to do is assign and return an OK. What is this? That's an error, yeah? So we want to clone this error somehow. We can't clone it. So here we have a problem too. It's really this clone issue that we have to work around, and RC did it for us. And I mean, long story short, I don't think that, you know, the HTTP error, it can't be part. It simply can't be part of this, or it must be in an RC. Yeah, I'd rather put it back into the RC, or make it make it optional. But even then, it needs to be clonable. I have to totally hide it, and the hiding only works through a box ORC in that case, just to make it clonable. Anyway, so have a look at this. So here we put in a sum device flow state success, which has the token, and this is what we want to be in, and from that point on it will just work. Okay, so, and this clone here, we don't want to clone it. We want to return whatever we put in. We could just call ourselves again. If we want to return something that is depending on our state, we could call ourselves again, which will then end up here basically and do the right thing. Problem is that it still cannot handle the error. I mean, right now we're returning a reference to the error that we have, which we don't do anymore. Okay, so I guess the reference to the error is okay, but we need space. We need we need separate space for the HTTP error, so that it's either part of ourselves, and maybe, the poll results. It may contain what does the poll result contain? The poll error. We might need separate space for the poll error. I think that's the point here, is it? So that our state is not depending on it anymore, because at some point we want to keep the poll error, but keep behaving just as normal as usual. So where is the poll error in our states? I think up here. Yeah, so what if this would instead, we just separate this. So this is just an error flag, device flow state. So now we can clone the state as we like. But the most important thing is that the error here, we never clone again. Device flow, where's my state here? So that's the last HTTP error that we have seen. It's an optional hyper HTTP error. Do we use it like that? Yes, we do. Cool. So then we have error, which is also none. Fine. So now we just have to figure this out. Device flow. So the point is we want to return our previous error. So we do return a borrow to the last poll error that we have. Oh no, wait, I'm doing it wrong again. Device flow state. It's a poll error here that we have. An optional poll error. Fine. So device flow state error. Where do we use it? Here. But this doesn't contain anything anymore. We just mark ourselves, which basically means that we return self error as ref unwrap. So this must work. This contains a reference to the poll error that we contain. And if we don't manage our state right, we crash. That's how that goes. Here we set ourselves to the error. And also what we do is we set our own error, self error, to some expired poll error. And then we return a reference to our error state. And that's how that goes. Good. So that is good. That is good. Let's move on. Here, we want to set our error just to keep the data. Self error is sum, and then this thing. So we keep this, and then we return a reference to our error. And that's it. A borrow. And this doesn't affect our logic at all because we didn't change our state to an actual error state. See? So expired can do that. And what else can it do? Expired can do it. Where else do I set my state? And access denied can do it, right? So basically what we do now, well, we set both in a way. Server message, why do I need that? Oh, PI server message, I set it here. That's okay. Ignore, move on, it's not an error. Okay, ignore, move on, whatever that means. Oh, if we can't decode the JSON error, then we don't care, apparently. Oh yeah, true. Ignore, move on, because we don't have an error, right? Makes sense. And if we have no error, we have some valid stuff in there. This is what this code tries to say. So, so far so good. I like it. Kinda. Then, but this really helps to just decouple error state. The error state and the poll result. And also we don't have to clone that anymore just because we decoupled, you know, everything. Because what we're interested in is our poll information, you know, and not the state. And this is how that works. So now we can override our state at will, and we can override our error at will. Anyhow, that's the thing here. So here we want to override our error state in one branch. Oh, gee. Hello? Yeah. I totally think something is broken there. I don't know who's ringing the bell all the time. Let me check something. Because I do indeed expect a delivery, but it has been hanging around at customs for a long time. And this is still the case, so that's not it. I don't know. So let's go back. It's 37 minutes, but I think maybe in this session I will actually finish this so that it works. You know, on the other hand, we had some dirty code in there all the time, and now we kind of clean it up a little. And this is the last thing to do. Access denied. And the problem is that we either, maybe there's no problem, I'm just not getting it. Yeah, so PI, I copied PI. And if authorization is still pending, we just don't do anything. You know what? I think I want to set the error here. And let's do this because I kind of like this style more. And if the access is denied, we say, okay, it's some poll error. Oh no, wait. In that case, we do want to set our state. In this case, we do not want to set our state. You do not want to change our state, right? Question is, can I reassign my state with myself? Because the state already contained, I think I can do that. Yeah, so it means no change. So if the access is denied, then I set it to an error. Yeah, I can actually do this. I can assign the error in there. So, man, that is something, but it's also, you know, good. It's a good exercise. Trains your brain. So that's the return value here of that branch. And we shall set ourselves to a device flow state error. yes, this doesn't contain anything anymore. And our actual error will be some poll access or poll error access denied. This is what we return here all the time. If you realize we are in error, we return our error. So we have to set it. We have to make sure this is set whenever we set ourselves to an error state, at least. That's good. So here we set our states and we set the error. If it's authorization pending, then we set our state just to ourselves because it actually does not change. And if there's anything else that we don't know, we just fail. And panic. And then what we return is, well, we are pending or we have an error. So basically what we have to do yeah. Oh, come on. Somebody really wants to get in. Yeah, so what I'm thinking is, if we don't have to do anything, I mean, we have to return early, right? But how do we say that? I think here, authorization pending, I want to return, what do I want to return? Oh, crap. I actually lost the ability. I actually lost the ability to, yeah, just a second. Yeah, the real world. Amazing. They actually fixed my microphone, my speaker headset, earlier than expected, and they also didn't tell me, these bastards. And this postal guy, this post guy, he kept ringing all the bells that there are to get in, and actually found me. Even though I was unable to reply, that's a bit weird, and I was unable to open my door as well. So I think my thing is actually broken. But let's get back to business here. Let's get back to what's really important. Here, I lost the ability to return, just nothing. No state change. So what should I say? What should I do? Should I return an optional token here? Isn't it okay with nothing? Oh man, this gets more and more complicated. I could do that. That's kind of the Rust way. It's very rusty because you don't add stuff to all the types, but you just encapsulate them into something that adds the required properties. Like in my case, being a token that is available or not. Doing that. You return an error, but I think we have to encapsulate it in an error, by the way. So that's my bug. So that will work. That will work. Now we have to do some. Okay, we return it, so to speak. Here we return an error, here we return an error, and in this case let's just return an okay. I don't assign this anymore because it's not necessary. I assign this within this match statement. I think that's really what we want, and we are exhaustive. So here we always return something. So here we say error access denied. So this will prevent us from doing anything in future, unless the flow is totally redone. And I also, now that we have an additional field, if we request the code, I have to be sure to reset my internal state, because we could rerun. Must not be called after we have obtained a token or have no error. I think, right now my state is kind of convoluted because I have to be sure that I don't try to run again if we have a state already. And I think actually the best way to do this is to say, well, we will never reassign our state with none. So if self state is some, I think that's better, because this definitely means that something is wrong. Because here we set our state and it will always stay something, even though we might have an error state. And this basically means that you cannot reuse this. We don't provide a reset button, and we don't just continue at will. So we have to create a new instance of us to get a clean state. So that's, I think, better now. And here we want to set our error and our state. Self state is some device, some error. So that's error state now. And what else should we do? We should return our error. Yeah, which is an optional, so same as here basically. Self error is ref unwrap. Yeah, and we wrap this into an error, because poll error still is a reference. Yeah, so we might do some lifetime stuff there, but I think this will work. Good, so we return that. Authorization pending. This means return now an OK. Return an OK with some, with none, right? And that's it. Okay, and this also means we kind of have to overhaul all the code that uses this, which is here. Request code poll token. Yeah. So OK is now, it's now something else. And we just keep going. Authorization pending. How do I get this authorization pending information, by the way? Where do I get this again? So we get it just once, the poll information. And the poll information, it doesn't change afterwards, does it? PI, I think we just use it. We return it and we use it. We do not change it, even though we could, because we are an immutable self, because we assign our state and stuff. With self ID, and poll information we don't even use anymore. So yeah, we don't get this here anymore, but we don't need it. We can save it and keep using it if you like. So that's all right, actually. That's all right. Yeah, time is running out at some point because I have a meetup early today. So I have to get going at like 5:30 or earlier. But I will get this done until then, I think. All right, so let's focus. Let's stay focused. So we return nothing here. I think that's okay. And otherwise we are in success state and all this is good. And yeah, what do we return at the end? Yeah, I think I want to return the token here. So each branch needs to do something. So here we already return for all the common cases. We get the poll information. Does it need to be optional? Like if we have no poll information, what happens then? Isn't that an error? You have to call, okay. So we need a state. If you have a state, that's fine. Why is this optional? That's the question here. I think that's also a bug, because we either return or we have it, and there's no other way. So that's not an optional. That's PI. Yeah, not an optional. Match PI, and there's no need to do this. So now we have poll information. That's great simplification here. We have poll well, we do have poll information. Let's see what we return here. I think I want to return the token that we obviously have. So here's the token. We change our state and return an OK with some token that we provide in an owned fashion. That is that. Good. How much time is left? Probably. Okay. Let's try to finish this up in the next 10 minutes at least to make it compile. And if it doesn't compile, let's see. 10 minutes, 9 minutes left. All right. La la la. I think that's cool. This still does make sense to me, which is a good sign. And possibly, let's try to make this work here. So we pull the token. Why do I have PT separate? For no reason. PT. So if we have, what can we have? We have an error with a poll error in there. And we want to match on a poll error borrow. I hope this works like that, but I think so. I do think so. And then we have this borrow. Then we have this borrow, can put it into a string, convert it into a string, use it. We match against it. I think this kind of takes away the borrow, so this is actually the item itself. So that should also work. Then we have HTTP error expired, access denied. Authorization pending is something we removed, right? Because it's not part of the poll error. Authorization pending. Yeah, so this thing here, the PI stuff. Where do I get my PI stuff? PI. I think this is something I now want to save for later. So if you have an error, match res. If you have an error, we either return and we either continue. We might want to explicitly continue. Okay, so now I want to save this PI somehow. Just to give it to the delegate, right? And in order not to have any uninitialized variables, I have to be smart about it, which also doesn't make it easier right now. So here we return, here we break out of the loop, but I want to return something, that's the point. And I want this to be handled automatically, but I think thanks to loop stuff just doesn't work. Doesn't work anymore. Unless I say, if I get out of this, here I could make an assignment. Here return. I can, that's exhaustive here. Request error. We return, we continue. Let's continue explicitly. Yeah, so basically if you're still here in the error case and we didn't return, this means we want to continue. Yeah, I think that's the match here. for the error case. And it's a single statement, not to forget. And now we want to make it, I think, this has to go away. Now we want to make it multi-statements. That's a match. And we want to continue here. We are explicit now, which is better. Here we fall through and continue, which is good because that means we don't make any assignment. So if we have a PI, then we shall return the PI. And basically this branch will never return anything, and it should figure that out. It's either continue or return. So this is the only thing that can return something, and we shall keep that for later. So after the match, and what we basically say is that PI be the result of this match, like this, and if we got it, we break. And now we have a PI for later. Oh shit, we don't have a PI for later. Can a loop return something? I think it should be able to return something. But I think it can't. Oh man, this loop really screws me over. That PI be poll information. And now can I assign it here without everybody being mad at me? And then break? And does it figure out that it will always be set? At least once? Does it figure that out? Because the loop runs at least once? I do hope so. Okay, so if we get out of here, we're good. Oh shit, I think that possibly wants to take a clone or a borrow. Okay, it may own it. Let's change it. You may have a borrow. Here you go. Okay, now we can keep owning it and assign it. It should realize that I definitely assign it, so it's not possibly unused or used without initialization. Okay. Yeah. Looks good. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know how to do this. Looks all a bit shitty, but hey. Now this is at least aligned. So now I assign the PI, who can finally use it, which basically means that here we handle all the errors, we return in all the cases, or we continue. HTTP error, we continue. Expired, we return. And this case, we don't have anymore, but we have an OK none. We have an OK some token. And we have an OK none. And in the OK none case, we basically are, just have to wait. That's the pending case now. In this case, we do the match, which is a single statement. Thus, we can just put it, here, like so. Yeah, and usually I put it into the next line, like that. All right. Single statement works, so comma goes here. And then we give it a reference to our PI that we stored previously, just for it to know. And then it tells us what to do. Either we will return, the return value does not change, PTS. Where do we get PTS? PTS is PTS string, poll error string. All right. So this now, is actually not there anymore. But we have a PI. Well, this is no error, really. because the delegate told us to abort. And I think that's what I have to say here. There's nothing, I mean, that's the situation. There's no real error. So yeah, let's do this. Delegate aborted. Aborted. Pending token. Well, token authentic. Pending token. Pending authentication. Authentication aborted or something. To string. Yeah, so you know, we didn't wait long enough basically, and I might want to put this in the new line like that. Word wrap is disabled in this buffer, otherwise it would look much worse, but I can't help it right now. Oh yeah. Maybe here I want to put it into the next line as well. So that's at least a bit better now. All right, so that's the new logic. I should be able to do it like that. Should figure out it's exhaustive. I mean, lots of stuff happens now, and with a little bit of luck, this works. So the only thing that changed for us is the Pol token thing. And what we shouldn't forget is to update the documentation when this actually compiles. Okay, there is a compiler, syntax error 277 in what device? True, it's kind of something is unclosed there. Where's this going? Match. Oh, match on the state is no, that's here. Some, I think this is missing. Oh wait, incorrect close delimiter. Okay, there's one too many. Where is it? In ref pi. Yeah, that one. And this I think is also better now because that was missing possibly. Then, okay, 38, that's easy. Error state missing. I think we initialized it already. Then 285. So that's the simple part. That's the syntax errors. Here we assign something without a semicolon. Let's still build, right? Yeah. All right. 1, 2, 3. Trade clone is not implemented. Derive clone 1, 2, 3. Where do I try to do that? Pol error. We don't need to clone you anymore. That's the cool thing. Debug. Well, probably we want that. Do we have debug on our device flow? No, we don't. So we don't need debug on the device flow state. That's good. What else? Here you go, mismatched types. Expected bool found something else. Device 186. If state is sum. Oh yeah, greater than equal. That's already a bool. Good that it didn't allow that. Then we're getting there. Mismatched types 288. Wanted a Pol error borrow, got an optional. See, 288. Probably just me being silly. Self error, true. It's set. Unwrap. As ref. Unwrap, and this is guaranteed to work for us because we just assigned it. And whenever this happens, we have to do this as ref unwrap game. Let's see where else this is a problem. Then Pol errors, the same thing here. 306. I kind of forgot that we are having a an optional there. As ref unwrap. There we go. HTTP error cannot be dereferenced. 203 and helper. All right, I'm getting a. Yeah, true. I'm having this thing already, and all I want is to pass this on like that. Pass this on like that. Where else do I do this? Game here. Paul token. I think here it's possibly the same thing. Yeah, because this was an RC previously. And now, yeah, let's just try this. Probably it's wrong in its own right. Oh, no, it's not. Cool. 235. We're getting somewhere. Next bunch of related error messages. Can assign to immutable field PI server message device 323. 323. Because PI was not. Where's PI? It wasn't set as mutable. But the cool thing is we do clone it, so we can do things to it anyway. And if we assign the server message, do we take it in? Do we change the state? I mean, we assign it, but we actually don't keep it anymore. And it's awesome because this bug we found thanks to Rust, and Rust being forceful when it comes to immutability, because that's a logic error. Previously we had this as part of our state, which we returned and made thus available, and now I say, well, we have the poll information just once, and that's what you deal with. This is why I keep the poll information and kind of, keep going. But the server error here, we change it and try to understand it, and this never changes. I mean, in a way, this doesn't matter, because we analyze it and we convert it into a proper error. Yeah, I think that's what we do here. And thus, the user won't have to understand the server message. And that's good, and that kind of makes sure that we are not totally on the wrong ship here. Yeah, and then there's another one, poll error. Oh, use of moved value T. 339 in device. I didn't see that. Oh yeah, T moved in there. That's funny. So here we have it. Let's create the return value. Let res be this. Oh, it's so convenient. Just imagine if I had to type out all these types all the time. You would die. Would be very uncomfortable and very convoluted. So that's very nice. So we just take it here, and then we move it, and we are all good. Oh wait, we should set the expiry date beforehand, and then we use it like this. And last but not least, kind of move 229 helper 229. What's its problem? It says, can I move out of borrowed content? So maybe a ref to a ref is what we want. Mismatch types. See, we have a ref to a ref. Maybe we don't specify anything. Expected that found device poll error. What? 232. Oh yeah. So maybe this, because we have a reference there. Now we deref it. It's getting there. Oh, can I move out of? Whew. All right. What about this? And now, maybe I might have had this already, huh? Expected this. Okay. So expected that, found that. Shouldn't it tell me that I moved this thing? Okay, so poll token. It gives me a borrow a ref to something, right? So I would have to say it like this. Right. And then we have 229. Oh, actually it's here already. Attempting to move value here. Use ref. Okay, so now I capture a reference by reference, which kind of gives me a borrow to a borrow. Fine, fair enough. If that's what you want. And then I think we now have to just deref this, huh? 3232. Let me match against it. Can I do this? Oh wait, but I'm trying. Yeah, I have to. I pretend that I own it, which is not the case. So can I do that? Is this better? Is this now one ref error? Expected poll error. Oh my. Okay, so I think this is something I can now match against, right? Cool. Actually, that's the truth. And then I want to ref this. And then I go like that. And then like that. Oh yeah, true. I'm just borrowing it. That's okay. So that should actually work. Okay, I guess it ignores it as well. So let's just go ahead and fix this up. Ref expired. Does it pretend this expired? Does it need to own this? Expired T, so that's the time here. It wants to own this, apparently. Oh, what's the time, by the way? Jesus Christ, much longer than I intended. Delegate expired. I think just here, I think I should FN expired. I think I should make it a borrow. You know, they can clone it if they need it. But what I have here is a borrow now, and this should be reflected everywhere. So I can just hand it over like that and create the respective error message that is just boiled down to a string. Access denied. Okay, good. So that possibly can work. Oh yeah, like that. Right. Oh my god. Unused variable res. Device 322. So the decode thing. Oh yeah, it's res server message. That's the one. Oh, now I have to check diff current file what this was. Server message. When we assign it, oh maybe PI server message. Oh, it's res error. Okay, good. So res error. So that could work now. Now we use res and it actually compiles test. Probably doesn't work. Oh my. Device 393. Okay, so but it compiles. That's the first step. In the next step, I will finish this up.